sometimes don't like the word pitch because, again, my theory is that salespeople can become too salesy. And by too salesy, it means I'm trying to get my point across and I'm going to sell you something, as opposed to asking the client what they're looking for and what they're trying to do. So in our world in tech, there's, I can go down 10 or 15 different routes when we have a conversation because we could be talking anything from, as I said, from managed IT to cloud services all the way through to telco. So it's always a bit of a discovery process, and you always take it in a really relaxed way. And there are so many other extrinsic factors in different size businesses. So part of one of the reasons I think we did quite well was we were bringing an enterprise style solution for clients down into the mid and lower tier businesses, just small to medium businesses, for businesses that can't afford to have 3 people in their IT team. So to be able to go and ask them the questions and understand what it would be like to have a fully fledged IT team that one of the big 4 might have, and be able to then give them that is there's a lot of discovery in doing that.
What I think you said there that was genius was that don't focus on you, focus on your client.
Absolutely.
It's about being customer centric. The first thing we do is we make sure that the client knows who we are, what we believe in, and kind of why people join, the benefit of doing what we're on a mission to accomplish as a community.
Yep.
But after that, we actually ask them why you're interested in growing your network or becoming part of the community. In every pitch, you should be asking them why you want this, and how's that going to benefit you.
That's right.
And so long as you can deliver that, well,
right.
Fuck, great fit.
And that's the thing. If you can't deliver it, then you can give them some advice and push them in another direction, give them a hand, and that's fine as well.
And they respect you.
And they respect you for it. So, it's always, I think it's always going in with the customer in mind first, trying to understand what they're trying to achieve, and then then you can open up you're in Bali and you're opening up your chest of watches and sunnies and things like that. And then you can offer them some services.
Yeah.
But
you're looking for some shade. Here's a hat.
Here's a hat. So you need to find out what they're looking for.
And what are your feelings on the close of the pitch? So you've done a thing. They're quite happy.
Yeah.
How do you like to try to get it? Try to land your fangs.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to ask for the business until you've ticked off every single objective that they'd given you from that first meeting. When you're going in and going through that discovery process and find out what the issue was, until you can tick off with them that they're comfortable that you can achieve what they're looking to do, that's when you can ask the question. I think in the sales world, in the old school sales world, the word close became really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've got to go and close
strong.
You're really strong. And it's like, all right, if you don't do this today, you won't be there tomorrow and all those sorts of things. I'm certainly more soft when it comes to closing and I let the process get me to the point to ask the question. The only time that you might put a bit of a harder close on is if something's been dragging out, which probably means me 9 months.
100%.
Me 9 months. But
I wasn't pointing you. I mean, we have stuff all the time.
But there's obviously something that you haven't done through the process to get it right. If you keep coming second, there's probably something you're doing wrong in your process to get you to that point. So you got to keep going and rediscovering that. So I think if you're getting to that point in sales where you haven't, they're pushing out and they're pushing out all the time, there's something you're missing in your process in the middle, and it's got nothing to do with closing. So the lead for me most of the time is these days is through referral or through knowing somebody. And the way I do that these days is because, well, I hope that I'm doing a good job for somebody else. I've got the right to ask that question.
So you will actively ask your existing clients of whom you know are happy, hey, do you know anyone that would be good for me to meet? And
absolutely. Yeah, all the time.
That's important to note that you actively ask.
Absolutely. Always got to ask the question, because the way that I see it is that there are a myriad of different suppliers out there in any industry or anything that you do. So the reality is that I think that somebody wants to go and use you because they like you. Mm-hmm. So if you're being referred in by somebody that they know and trust, the trust factor's already sorted. If they get on with you and like you, that's the second piece. And the third piece, you've got to have a good product or service, obviously, that's going to deliver. And fortunately, we have that.
So you have clients, they're happy. The really happy clients, you will actively ask them for a referral. So if you've got a good relationship with the CEO or whoever you've spoken to, mate, listen, I'd really appreciate a referral. Do you connect anyone, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
So you get that referral, then what do you do?
So if I've ever got a referral, or even if I've got a lead that's come in from anywhere, I pick up the phone, and I think that's probably the most one of the most important things that I try to preach all the time is that the phone is still the most important thing. Stay away from email as much as possible. I'll always pick up, introduce myself, and then set a meeting time to go and see that person. And then that's when the discovery piece.
So someone's referred them to you.
Yep.
Right? Maybe that person hasn't even told them about you.
Yep.
What do you say to that person? How do you get that person to say yes to coming in to
so,
talk about your business?
So if you'd referred me and they weren't actually looking for something, they might say something along the lines of, look, I'm not sure what we're going to catch up on, but I've been told I've got to catch up with you. So let's do it. And I said, look, I won't take too much of your time, but let's do it and have a bit of fun with it. And I'll just see if there's any opportunity in there. I'm not going to waste your time, but I may be able to at least show you something or point you in the right direction, which might not be with us, but it might be able to help you with your incumbent. So at least that way you're giving them some advice.
Yeah.
And you're not wasting their time, because these people are very busy people. And then that's usually when they'll let us in the door.
It's almost a little bit more like, hey, I don't know if there's something there, but let's find out and have a bit of fun while we do it. And even if we don't, well, at least we're mates now. We know each other.
That's right. And then what we find as well, I learned very early on in business is that someone might say no to you today, but it doesn't mean no forever.
Yes.
Routine is everything. But routine changes very quickly when you have a baby. I learned very quickly. Before my little guy, the routine was pretty much the same. 4 a.m. wake up. I would do an hour of work, the stuff that I don't want to do, which is answering emails and those sorts of things. And then I'd be out on the road for 5:30 for a run or a gym session by then, cold showered, and then back into the office to get started.
You do the cold shower thing.
Yeah.
So you wake up at 4.
Yeah.
And so you actually work before you exercise. So you do an hour. What do you do in that time? Do you have a coffee, just get the brain stimulated and do that type of thing?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then you'll go train.
And then train, yeah.
And it's very interesting. I hate training in the morning. I like training in the afternoon when someone's pissed me off throughout the day, and I like to take it out.
I always found that COVID changed things a little bit, but I do a similar thing now. I just brought my end of the day routine a little bit shorter so that I could spend more time with my little guy and do all the fun things like bathing and stuff like that.
So you come home earlier.
Yeah, that's right. But keep the morning the same as much as possible.
The morning's the most important part of the day. If that's structured, if I don't sit at the cafe at the same time, have the same coffee and read my book and then have my green tea, like I follow, sit in the same set, everything. If I don't do that, I'm screwed the rest of the day. I may as well just go.
Absolutely. And that's the one thing I've actually struggled with during the COVID time and when we had that little bit of lockdown and those sorts of things, you start to slip out of those routines. And bringing yourself, as soon as you can bring yourself back into the morning routine, the rest of the day follows. Talking to some friends over the weekend who just love it. Like, I mean, they're in a different routine now where they're happy to get up earlier and work through and then train middays and all those sorts of things. I guess you got to find what works for you.
But having routine is crucial. Everyone says that. It's like a fairly certain scientific fact.
Absolutely.